So moving on to our next story, Sheikha Mozah sets a brand new milestone for female pilots worldwide. So she has become the first woman to pilot the AW609 tilter, setting a new and important milestone for female pilots. This was in civil aviation, obviously, and it was during her visit to the U.S. helicopter headquarters in Philadelphia. Sheikha Mozah piloted the revolutionary aircraft, making her the first world's tiltrotor to receive a civil certification.
Now she expressed, "I'm thrilled to be the first female pilot to test this revolutionary aircraft. It was not only a personal milestone, but an opportunity to shatter another glass ceiling for women. I always push myself beyond my limits to prove that if I can do it, it is also within the reach of anyone else who is determined enough to try."
And according to The National, Sheikha Mozah has always been passionate about flying ever since she stepped foot into a cockpit and seen it for the first time at the age of 12. Since then, she's soared in the field of aviation, setting several records and becoming the youngest enrolled student at Oxford Aviation Academy in England.
That's amazing. But her accomplishments don't end here. She was then appointed as a first officer with Emirates in 2015 and set out on her first passenger flight from Dubai to Amman, Jordan, to eventually hit another milestone, becoming the first lieutenant pilot in the Dubai Police Air Wing in 2019, which is so impressive. And anyone aspiring to become a pilot, like any Emiratis, because as women, you do have so many restrictions, whether you come from, regardless of your culture, nationality, background, it's just a common thing. You have those restrictions, and then you have those standard jobs that your parents want you to get into, jobs that are pretty basic, like engineering, doctoring, all those things.
Well, they're not basic jobs. Those jobs are still complicated.
No, my bad.
I get your point.
Nothing risky, even 1% risky, like piloting, up in the sky. You just have your parents, they have reservations for these kind of jobs.
Yeah, I get you.
So, it's just huge and so impressive. She saw something and set out on that path.
The thing is, this story proves that it's unfortunately a man's world, and for us to get to 2022 and this be the first we hear of this, it's really sad. In Oman, there's one female pilot. And I remember this was around the same time my brother became a pilot, and it was such a big thing. And it should be praised, and it should be something that's acknowledged, because it is tough at the end of the day for a woman to do exactly what a man's doing, if not better. And they don't get the appreciation, acknowledgement, and receive the praises they need to for making it happen when it is significantly harder.
Because you just don't know the number of obstacles they would have had to face and overcome to get to where they have. I'll tell you, the other day I was speaking to a taxi driver, and he was just telling me about his wife and kids. It was all really sweet until he said that he just doesn't allow his wife to work. So I'm just like, okay, why? Does she want to work? She doesn't want to work. And then he's like, why? If I'm working, she doesn't need to work. She needs to take care of the kids and make sure they study properly and excel at their studies. And I'm just like, but what if she has...
But she can still do both.
Yeah, she can do both. What if she wants to do something else, or pursue a hobby?
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, she can do whatever as long as she's at home, and not out and, distracted from the kids' education. And it's just as much as we feel like we're progressing and developing, there are still you have these conversations and you realize we are still there's still so much to be done.
Exactly. My thing is while you're talking about that story, imagine the potential that you might have, the passions that you want to pursue. That's the sad part. That didn't sink in until right now,
Yeah.
And with the way my family is, my family, there was just generally this sense of feminism throughout everything. Just seeing my mom work growing up, and different family members, their moms wouldn't work due to, I don't know, being from the countryside or something. It just wasn't the same. So I don't know, I just always had that in my mind that people grow up differently, and there's just not the same sense of progression between not even countries, but family members,
Exactly, that's true. And it's just so many things that need to change, mindsets, I feel like a lot more does, but right now only mindsets come to my mind.
Yeah, and like a big part of it's culture, you know?
Culture, yeah.
Like,
100%.
yeah, which is unfortunate, but like one step at a time.
And
Ideally, 10 steps at a time. Well, like we will
Ideally,
get there.
yes.
Ideally.
But of course, stories like this just add that bit of inspiration to our days and make us feel like if we want it, go out and get it and fight for it, and you know, we might just make it like Mozah.